Hey guys, Tyro here bringing you this 8th installment of micro tips and tricks for Company of Heroes 2. First up we have moving your anti-tank gun closer to get multiple hits. So here's a combat scenario. You have sight of an enemy vehicle and you're moving your anti-tank gun into position to fire at it. Now if you right click or attack move towards it, as soon as your anti-tank gun is in range it will set up and attempt to fire at it. There are 3 problems with this method. At max range, the anti-tank gun has less penetration, a higher chance of missing, which is especially problematic against the smaller target size of light vehicles, and your opponent only has to move their vehicle back a tiny bit and then they're out of range, making it highly unlikely you'll get more than one shot off unless your opponent is asleep at the keyboard. Instead, try to move the anti-tank gun closer and manually face it by right-click dragging in the correct direction. This way, when your opponent reacts and starts moving their vehicle backwards after the first shot hits, they will have a hard time clearing the arc of your anti-tank gun before a second shot lands, potentially resulting in a kill, especially if it is a low health vehicle. Now you're probably thinking, well, won't they see this coming? But the answer is possibly not. Here you can see the edge of the Sherman's line of sight, which you can tell because as I move it forwards and backwards, the fog of war moves, and this is the difference between the vehicle's line of sight and the anti-tank gun's range. So if you can position your anti-tank gun in this band, they won't see it coming. Some vehicles such as scout cars have much better line of sight. As you can see, the Sherman has to move a fair distance before it starts to move the fog of war, thanks to the extra line of sight provided by the M20. And some anti-tank guns such as the Raketen have lower range, so it is up to you to adjust this tactic depending on your game's situation. Next up, we're going to cover grenades. The most common type of grenades are thrown directly on top of the squad or slightly behind and towards the retreat point. Now if you don't see the grenade coming and try to dodge it by hitting retreat, your squad could bunch up as they start to retreat, and if you are behind heavy cover, you will lose the 50% reduction in damage, potentially resulting in a wipe. So a good way to dodge grenades, especially if you're behind a long piece of heavy cover such as a stone wall, is to move sideways along the wall. This way you will dodge the most common grenades, and you get the added bonus of remaining in cover or being able to quickly re-enter it after executing the dodge. And if you are too late to attempt a dodge but you are behind heavy cover, try remaining in it and then retreating after. The heavy cover will halve the grenade's damage, greatly increasing your chances of survival. Next up, flattening buildings with grenades. If you are trying to flatten a squad inside a building, make sure you check where the building has already taken damage. If you target a site that has already been destroyed, your grenade will not do much damage to the structure. But if you target a site that has not been damaged, you will greatly increase the damage you do to the structure. When we take a look at the health bars, you can see that grenading the undamaged site results in over twice the amount of damage. Now, I will cover throwing multiple grenades at a building. If you are in the situation where you have multiple squads trying to dislodge an enemy from inside a building, if you know where the doors are, try throwing multiple grenades simultaneously at each of them. This way, if your opponent tries to dodge by jumping out on either side, they will be clumped up at the doorway and get blasted by one of the grenades. And if they choose to remain inside the building, if it's made of wood or on low health, there's a good chance they'll be flattened inside it. Next up, we're going to cover grenade cancelling. The idea is to pretend to throw a grenade by using the grenade ability, then deep into the grenade throwing animation, pressing stop to cancel it. For most grenades, cancelling will result in a full refund of resources. However, your squad will have a slight drop in DPS, as the model that is attempting to throw the grenade will not be firing his weapon whilst the grenade animation is playing. The best situation to use grenade cancelling is when this is the only engagement happening on the map, so both you and your opponent will be watching it closely. Usually in these situations, throwing a grenade is a waste of time because your opponent will spot the grenade animation and start to dodge early, resulting in the grenade missing. By cancelling the grenade, you can use this early dodge against them because as they move to dodge the hypothetical grenade, they will experience the firing on the move penalties, lowering their DPS. They may also leave cover, opening them up to take more damage. If the opponent is not closely watching the engagement, grenade cancelling still has some use, as it can sometimes cause the enemy's troops to shout the grenade warning. This audio cue may result in a panic retreat from your enemy. Some grenades have more pronounced animations, making them easier to spot, and longer wind-up times, making them easier to cancel. These are the most suitable for this trick. Other animations are hard to spot and the grenade comes out almost instantly, making them unsuitable for this trick. Get creative with your grenade cancelling, though be aware it does rely on a certain amount of awareness from your opponent. That's it for this installment, guys. Be sure to like, subscribe and share it with your friends, but not with your enemies. You can also support the continued production of these videos through my Patreon page, which will be greatly appreciated.